Stadium Saturday.
Welcome back. This is Stadium Saturday, 103.2 Dublin City FM, and we're joined right now by Mainstage Wrestling's Katraz and Kazza. Guys, thank you very much for coming in.
How's it going, buddy?
And you brought a little present for you. This is fantastic. We actually have a belt, a World Championship belt here.
Well, yeah, that's right. I am Bam Katraz. I am the current reigning and defending Mainstage Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, and as is policy, the champion brings his title to all public appearances. So even though we're on the radio,
but we're in a bar though, so it's fine. So we're not in a dark studio or anything like that.
Yeah, we're in the city centre here, so if anybody wants to drop by and have a look at the title, there it is.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how long have you had the belt for then? How long have you been champion?
Literally about 2 weeks.
Okay.
I only just won it, so I prefer to hang on to it for a little while, so go easy on me if anybody wants a shot, please.
Well, tell us about your match then. Like, where did you win it? What was it? Just a regular wrestling match? Was there any stipulations in it, or?
Well, the champion at the time was a man named the Lord of the Manor, Paul Tracy, and we had an event in Erin's Isle GA Club out in Finglas, which is just on the off as one of the best audiences we have in the Dublin region. The fans are always really excited to see us. They're very, very vocal, and they always come out in droves. Like at the show, I think we had just over 300 people in this small little GA club. It looked brilliant. And anyway, so he had an open challenge for the title, and I answered it. So I came out, we wrestled in the main event, and went back and forth for about 15-20 minutes, and I just came out the winner. So here we are. There was no special stipulation. It wasn't like weapons or anything like that. It was just straight up one-on-one, and I just came out on top. So it was a great night for me. It's the first heavyweight title I've ever won. I've held championships in the past, but this is like me now as the top dog in this promotion. So it
feels good.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal for me. Like it's very validating as a performer. I've been wrestling now almost 10 years, and this is the first main title I've won. So it genuinely means a lot, and it says a lot about the men in charge, the lads in charge of the promotion, that they have a lot of faith in me, to trust me with this position. So yeah, the lads at Mainstage, I'm very grateful, and like I said, only held the title 2 weeks, but I definitely look forward to seeing where I can go with it, what opportunities it opens up for me, and what I can do to enhance the reputation of the title as well.
And have you had a chance to defend it yet?
No.
Mark?
Oh, Jesus, oh, God. Just hear the music hits.
Yeah. Well, we have a little surprise for you today.
No, not yet, but we have a little gym show coming up at our training facility. We teach, like, our promotion is also one of the best equipped wrestling schools in Europe. And we're located out in, we're in Unit 4. This is just a little plug for our school. Unit 4, Jamestown Business Park in Colmore Way, Inchicore, in Dublin 8. And we teach classes down there. We're right across from the Black Horse Lewis stop. If anyone wants to drop down, do a bit of training, I'm there. I'm one of the coaches. But yeah, so we'll be doing a little gym show down there for our current batch of trainees. They'll be making their debuts on the 21st of this month. All the details will be on the Mainstage Wrestling Facebook, Twitter, and our website as well. So I'll probably defend the title there. Maybe even against one of the trainees. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that'll be my first defence. I'm fairly confident about it, since this will be probably my 500th match and his first. So yeah, I'm pretty confident I'll be all right till the end of the year.
So you've been wrestling 10 years, Karen. How long have you been
I've been wrestling about 3.5 years now. Started training down in Mainstage Wrestling, and I debuted after about 6 months in a battle royale down with Mainstage. And from Mainstage, I've gotten to work around the world. I've gone to a few countries, and I've worked all around Ireland weekly almost this year. It's been very, very good.
And how do you get into it? Is it just something that, like with anything, I suppose, you go, I want to do wrestling, and look it up and see?
You love wrestling, you watch it as a kid, and you kind of never really got out of it, and then you found, like, oh wow, look, there's an Irish scene, and then you find it's actually a lot bigger than you'd give it credit for. Like, it's a big thing, and then you go and you realise that there's so much opportunity out there if you take it, like, and going through Mainstage was definitely one of the best things I ever did in my life, because it opened up so many doors.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, like, you watch it as kids, and Bam, I suppose you did the same as well.
Yeah.
And for years, like, you see all these guys like The Undertaker and Kane and all that, but then you got a guy like Sheamus who goes,
yeah,
and he's gone all the way to the top. Does something like that kind of give you a bit of an impetus to kind of go, it could happen to anyone?
It's an inspiration. Like, you see people just from Ireland that started in doing the exact same things that we're doing now, and then you see someone like Sheamus go on and actually make it to the very top. It gives you hope. Like, it paves the way.
He and I actually started over here more or less the same time. He had previous training in the States and then came home, and around 2004 another promotion had started up, and both of us were actually training there at the same time. So I actually, for a couple of years, I knew him quite well. And to see his success based on the fact that like he and I would have appeared on the same shows previously, it's a big eye-opening thing for us to show that this small part of the world isn't cut off from places like the States or, you know, Japan or Mexico or even the rest of Europe, which is like, it's a big goal for a lot of wrestlers. Like, a lot of wrestlers in the States like to come here, and obviously the goal for all of us is to make it to somewhere like the WWE. So to see him have the success he's had, not even just make it there, but to be a champion there, is, like I said, very eye-opening for us. Tells us that it is an achievable goal. Now, obviously, he has the thing going from that he's 6'4" and about 250 pounds of pure muscle, but you know, there's still hope. You know. But yeah, so seeing the success of people like him, and there's another Irish talent currently in Japan. His name is Fergal Devitt, or Prince Devitt over there. Seeing the way they have taken what they've learned here and being able to bring it abroad, it really validates the kind of training we have and the kind of athletes we have here. Like, there's actually, like, in the WWE, they've actually said there's something about Ireland and the way we produce talent. So places like Mainstage, we're very lucky to not only, we definitely are the #1 promotion in this part of Ireland. Like, in Dublin, Mainstage is #1. We boast the only, like, fully qualified and fully equipped wrestling school. And one of our head coaches is actually a former WWE developmental star. He was there under the name Luther Ward, but he's primarily known in the European scene as Omen. And unfortunately, things didn't work out for him there, but he was in their developmental system, which means he can now train people the way they want people trained. So that's like one big advantage we have. So I hope in the coming years we will see even some of our lads here at Mainstage then step up and potentially get tryouts, and if they're currently being trained in the way they look for in the WWE, it'll hopefully give them a big step up, and maybe one day we'll see a Mainstage wrestling star in the WWE.
We also have had former WWE superstars come down and do seminars with us. We had Scotty Too Hottie and we had Rhino, and then Fergal Devitt does do seminars around the country as well, so it's great that you can pick the ears of these people that have been there and know everything that you need to know. And then weekly with Omen is great to have, so you know, you get to go step by step and see exactly what he did when he was there.
Yeah. Well, sorry, buddy. Sorry. As you can see here, with like Karen, our school is open to both men and women. She's a product of our training program, and as she said, she's gone on to wrestle in Europe and all over Ireland as well from the opportunity she's gotten in Mainstage.
As far as training goes, then, like, how long does it take to kind of from your first day at training camp to? Is there a set time, or is it just a case of how you progress?
It's all down to the person, I reckon. Like, you know, it depends. Some people would take to it faster, some people would take slower, but eventually I think everyone kind of gets around the gist of it. Like, I'd say for me, it kind of took me a while before I kind of, because I'm smaller than the men, and you know, I kind of be like, oh no, this hurts. Like, I'm scared of this. But eventually, you know, you kind of get along with it, and you get more confident in yourself. The more confident you get in what you're doing, I think the better you get.
Yeah, so I've actually been teaching wrestling for like a lot of time. Like, I've been in just under 10 years, and I've been teaching classes on and off since around 2006. And what I've found with most people is that, as Karen says, it's mostly down to the individual, but like, you have to understand, like, a lot of different people come in at different levels of fitness, different levels of athleticism. The best way it was put to me when I started was some people grew up with a trampoline in their back garden and some people didn't. So obviously the people who stayed in playing video games are going to have a harder time, you know, taking the bumps, like where we fall onto our back, or doing the flips and hitting the ropes, whereas the more athletic people are obviously going to take to that like a duck to wire, you know what I mean? Is that a duck to wire? Or is that water off a duck's back? I don't know. I'm 5 concussions deep here. I haven't a clue what I'm saying. I don't even know what I said at the start of this, when we started talking this interview.
What's your name?
You what?
What's your name?
Oh, Bam. Yeah, I don't know
okay.
that much.
That's all right.
You know, the name is also...
We'll start at the start again, okay? Well, as far as kind of training goes then as well, like injuries and stuff like that, how did that come into account? If you guys have had, I'm sure you've had like injuries, and like you said there, your 5 concussions.
Yeah, 5 concussions. I've actually been lucky in the time I've been in wrestling. I've only, like, they've all been mild, very, very mild, so no long-term brain damage. Other than that though, I've broken my thumb. I tore the ligaments in my shoulder in January this year, and we're very lucky in that in our facility we have a physiotherapist as well, so I go to her every other week, and she puts me on the table and beats the crap out of me. And
worse than you'll ever get to in the ring.
Yeah, well, she was helping me with my legs yesterday, and I can barely walk today, so Injury is just a part of it. It's something we all face, but that is part of the training. The training is actually primarily localized around just trying to prevent injury. We show you how to take a bump, how to get slammed. Like, that's the thing. Most of the training isn't slamming people, it's showing you how to be slammed, like how to safely land in a ring that is primarily wood and steel. You know what I'm saying? So, but injuries do happen. Like, I've never heard of any wrestler who's ever come into it and gotten out of it injury-free. Everybody suffers some form of injury. As I said, I've been lucky in the 9 years I've been in it. Nothing too heinous, but I've heard, like, I know people who have hurt their necks pretty badly, who have, like, broken, like, their backs in places, you know. They're still walking, they're alright now, but, like, just really, really bad injuries. Like, I'm not sure about Karen, like, what have you had?
The worst thing I have is, like, a back problem, but it's not too severe, so I do get it checked every so often so I can keep going. I think the worst I've had now is a sprained ankle. So I'm actually lucky right now, but I'm still scared something's going to happen. But
is that part of the confidence thing, like you said there? You grow in confidence, and it's more like kind of I'm going to go into this, and I could get injured, but that's the
scary part. But then I think the longer you go into it, then you're like, you get used to it. You're like, you know, the first time you take a bump, you're like, oh, this is brand new. I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I throwing myself on the ground? But you do it again and you do it again, and eventually once you learn how to do it safely, it starts to hurt less and it just becomes part of it, you know. And then you're wrestling with the guys and girls and it stops hurting, you know what I mean, because you're used to it, and that gets you the confidence to try more and do more, and it gets better like that.
So what's the hardest move you've had to learn in your training?
Hardest move or favourite move?
Both. Go on, we'll go for it.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know what the hardest move to learn is. There are a lot of moves that are very hard to take. Like, given my size, like I'm relatively heavy now, but when I started, I was like 160 pounds. I was a small lad, and because of that, a lot of people liked to throw me around the place. So, and because I was small, and like, you know, when I came into it, I was a big fan of like wrestlers like the Hardy Boys and Rob Van Dam and stuff. I liked to jump off the top rope. So all this has caught up with me. So now, whenever I decide to do something. Like I like to do a leg drop off the top rope, kind of tone it down, but it's still a relatively big move. I basically jump and land on my ass, and that hurts a lot, and it's worse because I do it to myself. Like, I have to, even if I hit the guy or I miss the guy, that's probably the worst one. Like, most, the best thing is that in Ireland, the level of wrestler we have is so high that generally your opponent isn't going to do anything that will really hurt you. It's your own protection is generally down to yourself. Like, I can confidently put my life in the hands of most of the wrestlers here. They're all very well trained. They're all very very capable, and I think that's why it is popular over here. If not the level of it's not as visible as it should be, but it is popular among the people who like it. But yeah, I wouldn't say in regards to moves, I wouldn't say there's anything I don't like to take, but there's things I don't like to do. If that makes sense.
And Karen, what's your...
in main stages, I train with the boys, and the fact that I'm smaller, I kind of like the fact that they have the strength to throw me around, so you can kind of get thrown from one end of the ring in a safe way, of course. But so I like to kind of do them kind of flippy stuff. So I like going off the top rope and just kind of having a bit of fun and experiment with it. One of the hardest things I'd say I have to do is the fact that I would have to, my strength to lift a boy would probably be my hardest thing. Like, sometimes, you know, there's guys that are a lot heavier than I am, and I have to try and slam them, which sometimes I can, sometimes I make it, but not all the time. So that would be my biggest obstacle. It's my strength.
And how do you fare with the other lads and things, say, like, when you do lift one up and you drop one to the mat, then are they like a bit like...
I give them what they get. Like, I give them everything. They're afraid of me now at this point. Started off, they were a bit like, oh no, a girl, we don't know what we can do, but now they're so comfortable with me because I'm there every week, like, and we've been training for years now that they can almost forget it, and they hit me like they hit the boys, and it's much better that way. It's equal. That's the way you want it, like.
So is there less slagging then between the lads when you beat them then, or is it...
Well, one thing I will definitely give to Karen is that the reason she has been as successful as she is because she has never been afraid to get in with the boys. And I think that stands to her training. There are other places that I've heard where they'll like separate and segregate the boys and the girls, and I can see that from a marketing standpoint how it might be more comfortable for women to train. But I think the success Karen has had stands to the fact that if she can get in and tussle with the boys, it makes her tougher. It brings her up to their level quicker. You know what I mean? So, and like you can't argue with success. So yeah, she's definitely come on leaps and bounds from having to get in and take the kicks and the punches and the slams from lads maybe twice her size. Well, it's hilarious as well. Like,
it's funny seeing that kind of thing. No, one thing I do like about it is that they've never babied me because I'm a girl, and that's forced me to kind of have to do the exact same. Like if a guy's doing it, then obviously there's some things where it's like physically not possible. Like say sometimes I would not be able to slam that 6-foot guy there. Like I'm not going to be able to do that, so they'll let me away with that, but they don't let me like cry about things like, oh, I broke a nail. So there's none of that kind of thing going on, so it's completely even, and it has definitely pushed me to go further than I probably even thought I could at the start. I always thought that the fact that I was a girl, maybe I wouldn't be as like good as the guys, pretty much, because a lot of people put that down to girls, but I've really tried to push past that and train like the boys, so I'd be considered not just a girl in wrestling. I wanted to be considered a good wrestler, not just a good female wrestler.
Well, that's what correlates with our training. As you can see, Karen's saying there, like there's been instances in the past where she would have been unable to slam some lads that may have been too big, but I'm sure she could even attest to it herself. As time has gone on with the training, she's gotten stronger, she's gotten more confident in her ability to safely pick people up and put them on their back. But now the thing is, as part of our training is definitely, we don't just take people in and just teach them the wrestling side of things. We teach them how to diet properly, how to like lift weights properly, how to exercise, teach them professionalism. Like I can say,
but there is that other side to it that a lot of people probably don't realise, is that there is that athletic side to it as well, and there's the training, and like you would do with anything like running or football or anything like that.
If you want to do it, it really takes pretty much 100% dedication, because it's not just you go and you do your shows or you go and you do your training. It's pretty much a lifestyle. You have to eat right, you have to take the time to go to the gym, you have to make sure you try look your best, you have to put your money in to make your wrestling outfit look good. You have to literally give 110% for it. It's not just if you want to do well in it. Like there are people that would come down and would do it as a hobby because they like wrestling and they just want to get in the ring and do a few moves, but if you're serious about it, you really definitely, it takes your life, but in the long run it's definitely worth it. Definitely.
A big part of wrestling as well is obviously the storylines and stuff that go along with it. So what are your guys, what kind of rivalries are you guys involved in as well?
Yeah, you're definitely right there. Like, I mean, I think wrestling a lot of time is very wrongly associated with sports when it's much closer to theatre. It's much closer to a performance. Like, we are athletes in the sense that we have to look good and be able to move and jump and leap and stuff like that, but like as you say, with storylines and rivalries and stuff, it's much closer. I think it's a lot closer to an episode of Coronation Street with steel chairs and spandex.
Which is actually quite good to watch at 7:30 on Friday night.
Get that mental image in your head, huh? But yeah, so like for me currently now, like on an independent level like us, we don't necessarily have like these week to week ins and outs and feuds and stuff where, like, you know, if somebody ran out, you cost me my match, I'm coming for you, kind of thing. But we have like rivalries that go on over the course of potentially years, usually the last couple of months. So like for me now, I've just obviously come out of one chasing the main stage wrestling heavyweight title. So where things go from here is up in the air. I don't know if who my next challenger could be and how long they could be chasing me. But like I know Karen has had rivalries with several women lately over the. Yeah, well, you know, in the ring and out, you know, but, you know, so she's probably honestly better to answer this question than I am.
Well, over the last year, I'd say I've had an ongoing feud with Alex Breslin from up north. I've wrestled her quite a lot, so that would be the main kind of feud I would have. I've also wrestled a few guys within the last year, and which have been great matches, really enjoyed them. But it's always cut down to the fact that I'm a girl beating up a boy, so that would be my storyline. But I always come out on top, so it's fine.
Well, that's kind of the way we like to do it. We like to, you know, whenever we come into a new town or a new building or whatever, we kind of have to understand that a lot of the people there may not have seen us before, so we like to tell a story in context to that place. So, like, in Karen's case, she's, you know, the underdog girl who's taken on the big cocky guy who wants to, beat up on the small girl. So, like, that's the way we promote that. And then, like, now that I'll be coming in as a champion, I'll probably just be answering the challenge of whatever big bad guy wants his shot, you know what I mean?
You'd have the storyline in the show, like, you wouldn't have a week to week, but you'd, like, say the person comes in, sits down at the start of the night, then he'd see the story progress through the night. He'd see, like, oh, the guy came out at the start and he's asking him, I want a shot for that belt, and then you see how that progresses, and maybe some other people come in and interfere from other matches. They're the kind of storylines you'd see. It'd be a one-night storyline rather than an ongoing week to week, because you're in a different town every week, so chances are you would have a few loyal fans that might go to every single show, and they would see, they'd know if there was a thing, but chances are the majority of the audience won't know that guy lost the belt last week and now he's coming to get revenge. So you do kind of keep it in the show, unless you could have an internet following. That would be the only way you could do a long-term feuds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's why we have the Mainstay Wrestling Facebook, Twitter and website. We have it so the people can keep up with where we are, what we're doing and what's going on, who's currently on the roster, who's gone, or who's after coming up from our training school, things like that. Like our goals though, like I wouldn't say at this level our goals are necessarily these long overarching stories, although they do happen. Our goal is just to entertain the crowd that are there on the night, and our audience these days tends to be more young children and parents. So our product is much more family friendly now than it used to be. Like a couple of years ago, it was all, you'd get a lot of lads in their early 20s and stuff coming to the shows and stuff, so they'd want a more athletic style with like lots of flips and dives and weapons and stuff. Whereas now things have kind of we can tone down what we have to do and focus more on our characters. So like in the past on our shows we've had a tag team stable that was like a group of lads that were a tribute act to Justin Bieber, and then another one that was a tribute act to One Direction. You know what I mean? Just things that kids will understand and can get a kick out of. You know what I mean? So that's kind of more where our product leans now. You know what I mean? It's much more. I'm sure people when they hear wrestling, they either fall into one of two camps. Oh, that's fake, or oh, that's not suitable for children. You know what I mean? So
how do you deal with that? Because I'm sure you get a lot of that when you tell people what you do, and that is a big thing. Whereas
you tell them to get in the ring and see for themselves.
Well,
nothing fake about it.
For me, I kind of feel like anybody who says, oh, that's fake, is kind of missing the point. You know what I mean? Like, you don't go and see a play or a movie or go watch Breaking Bad or whatever and say, oh, look at that, that's fake. Bryan Cranston isn't really cooking meth, as far as we know. And but you know what I mean? Like, it's not, it's missing the point. Like, I think it's just because it's presented like a sport, people feel like we're trying to pull the wool over their eyes. Mm-hmm. But what we're actually doing is we're taking the athleticism of a sport and the drama of theatre and trying to mesh them together to create like a live performance. So like, even if you look at a wrestling ring for what it is, it's not just a constricted area the two guys have to fight. It's raised off the floor. It's a platform. It's a stage. It's that's what it is. It's a form of entertainment. So whenever people like ask me that question, I try and put it to them that way. Like, I'm not going to lie to them. I'm not going to insult anybody's intelligence and go, oh, it's real, brother. You know what I mean? I'll explain.
Break it into full character like in front of them.
Start throwing the haymakers into them. But yeah, like, I mean, it is something that comes up a lot. But I think it honestly. Like, it's not offensive necessarily, because it is just such an associated thing with wrestling. Oh, that's fake. But I don't remember anybody saying it was real. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, in context of what they show on television, they're not going to suddenly, in the middle of a commercial break, go, this is fake, right? You know what I mean? Like, we're fooling you here. But, like, that's the idea. Like, it's like I said, the product is aimed at children, so it's not for people. Like, if people enjoy it, that know it's all worked and it's all prearranged or whatever, then that's fair enough. You enjoy it, that's great. But right now, as I said, our product is aimed at families and children, and it's a much more family-orientated form of entertainment these days. Mm-hmm.
So what's coming from Mainstay Wrestling in the new year then?
Loads.
Yeah.
2014 is looking like a very, very big year. We have a tour starting in January, and full details will be on the website and the Facebook within the next few weeks. But 2014 is definitely going to be a big year for it all. It's really become very big. Mm-hmm. We've built up over the last year to the point that I think that we can really take it off the floor next year. So it's going to be great.
Like, our whole thing last year was we had a couple of events in the first half of the year, but then the focus became updating our wrestling facility. We always had one of the best training programs in Ireland, but our facility we wanted something better, so we've recently moved to the Jamestown Business Park, and that facility now is, like I said, like we've got our weight equipment, we've got a strongman trainer, we've got a physiotherapist, there's personal trainers, there's everything you could need to possibly make the best possible professional wrestlers. So since that was like our focus in the second half of this year, so now moving in 2014, it's given us these couple of months to kind of make bigger plans. And as Karen has said, in early 2014 we'll be going on our first tour. Like this will be like basically, as it sounds, a string of shows all in a row. So again, we don't know exact details yet, but they will be on the Main Stage Wrestling Facebook, the Twitter and the website. So I encourage anybody who's interested to go and check it out, because big things are coming, particularly for us, as we like this promotion only started maybe 3 years ago, and it's been primarily Dublin based, so it'll be a big thing for us now to kind of see where we can take it and where we can go, because we do have a lot of talented young men and women involved.